Inspiration comes from the Latin word meaning to breathe into. Isn't that lovely? I recently read a post about inspiration where the writer suggested that we are inspired by the arts because the life of an artist is free from responsibility, of rules and constraints, working in the realm of pure ideas. Artists are like gypsies, free to wander and to be whomever they want to be. What a load of crap! Hi, I'm John, and this is Bogdan. In 2015, we gave up our day jobs and started our own freelance creative business. Join us on our journey as we figure out how to earn a living as artists, introduce you to those we meet, and share what we learn along the way. Perhaps it's just me, but in my art practice, I live with all sorts of oppressive burdens, constraints, and rules that are out of my control. And as for the noble gypsy lifestyle, I've lived in Eastern Europe for a long time, and many of the gypsies I know suffered greatly due to poverty and social injustice, prejudice, and they worked really, really hard to make a living for their families. But I'm guessing that's not the point. Art inspires others for a variety of reasons that speak more to what the viewer brings to the experience rather than what the artist brings. We're saddled with centuries of grandiose conceptions about art and beauty that are lovely affirmations of the importance of art to the individual and to society. But that doesn't help me much when I'm staring at a blank canvas and I have a deadline. Now, everybody has a bad day now and then, and we should definitely give ourselves a break for being human. But what do we do when that block becomes more than a momentary blip? I assume it's due to the grind of the coronavirus pandemic, but I've heard a number of artists tell me lately that they're in a slump, that they just can't seem to work right now. And while I'm totally sympathetic, it occurred to me that as small businessmen and women, is that really okay? Putting on that business owner hat, can we really afford to have periods when we don't produce? We are our own product, right? Now, we're all human, but if we have to depend on our creative productivity to make a living, and our product depends on each of us as individuals, how do we plan for this human variable? Well, it seems to me that there are ways to deal with the lack of inspiration. And if we know that part of the human condition is that we will have dry spells, then we should have techniques at the ready when those beasts break through the surface. The good news is that a group of neuroscientists got together and found out that there really is something going on in our heads when we're inspired. Well, that's a bit of a relief. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I was once chatting with children's poet laureate J. Patrick Lewis, and we were talking about what he looked for, where he looked for inspiration. And he said he didn't believe in it. He said that writing poetry was work, hard work. And the way you created a good poem was to write and rewrite and rewrite. And I don't think for a minute he was trying to diminish the creative process. He was trying to emphasize that we creatives can be downright silly sometimes when we're searching for a muse. Just go do the work. Leave it to a poet to shake up my world. So among the many strategies you may already have in place, I've come up with 5 handy ways to help find inspiration to bolster creativity. Number 1, routine. We all know that. Even when we argue to the contrary, we love routine. If we exercise every day, we want to exercise every day. If we always eat at 5 p.m., we get hungry at 5 p.m. So it is with inspiration. If we create every day, then we increase the likelihood of finding inspiration easily, because our minds are expecting inspiration. Now that routine can take many forms. It could be meditation, could be listening to music, or just the act of getting settled in your workspace. There is no secret that church services use special rituals in music, incense, and architecture and art. All of those elements are meant to inspire a certain reverence, an elevation of the soul. We can create our own rituals for our creative day. Number 2, interdisciplinary. Sometimes another form of creative expression can start those juices flowing. If you play an instrument, spend some time making music. Write a short story or a poem. If you're a painter, then work for an hour with clay. Write a blog or a journal. Write a letter, cook something magnificent. Find some other way to be creative and see if that inspiration will leap from one platform to the other. Number 3, the blank canvas. I have to work on this one myself, but clearing away the clutter from your work area can go a long way too. That may even be part of our daily ritual. Cleaning our space of distractions can help us focus more specifically on the work at hand. When I'm sitting there typing, I look at my peripheral vision and I have notes from my next blog post. I have a file of to-do items, a recall notice for my car, and 2 partially completed watercolor sketches. How long will it be before one of those shiny objects takes my attention away from this entry? My cat has to circle 3 times before she can lay down. And I often think that preparing my drafting table, or arranging my paintbrushes, or arranging my canvas, choosing some great music, that's all part of my circling before I can get down to work. Number 4, Doodle Time. I also make point to spend time in my sketchbook. Just the act of doodling can do a couple of things for me. First, it can clear my head, much like meditating, or just getting the clatter from my brain to quiet, and allow me to focus on creating lines and loops and such. The act of doodling can create a spark in me to try something on canvas, or give me an idea to add to a piece that's already in progress. If not, I can always take that doodle and turn it into a piece of art as well. Sometimes just using that doodle as a starting point, I can add color, build on the lines, and complete the doodle into something that can stand on its own. Then I just throw it in a bag, put it in the bargain bin for an open day at the studio. Number 5, transference. Sometimes, when I feel that I just can't get in the mood, I'll pick up an art book, or I'll even pull up an old movie about an artist. Very often, just having that much of a nudge can put me in the mood to paint, or plant a seed of an idea in my head. I'll often go to YouTube and find a tutorial or an interview with an artist about their practice. There's so many inspirational fonts around us every day, so there's virtually no excuse for not finding something to jog us back into the productive mode. Let's face it, art inspires artists to make art, which in turn inspires artists. It's all a vicious circle, but it's a rather lovely one. So what are your triggers for inspiration? And how long do you allow yourself to push creativity to one side before you act? I would be very interested in your responses, so please give us your tips in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed our video, and click on that bell to be notified of new content. Help us out on Patreon if you can. Hopefully, some of today's content has inspired you to go out and create something amazing. If so, take a quick snapshot and send me the picture to include in next week's video, if it's decent. Have a wonderful week. Stay inspired, stay creative, and I'll see you next time. Bye.